T-Mobile, America's largest 4G network. After 9/11, of course, there was the 9/11 Commission, and the Commission made a bunch of recommendations. Well, looking back on it 10 years later, they talked to some of the leaders of the Commission, Thomas Kean, who was on the Republican side, Lee Hamilton, who was on the Democratic side, and they came to the conclusion that 9 of their major proposals have just not been done. Just not done. Okay. Now I can give you a ton of examples, but let me just give you 2. Okay. One is a lot of the fire department couldn't get out of the buildings, because even though they already had a message that the buildings are going to fall, get out of there, right? And so there was a helicopter who said it's unsafe, you got to go. That message got to the cops. Most of the cops left. That's why so many more firemen died than cops, because they didn't get the message. So one of the things that they wanted to do was better communications. So they wanted to do a national mobile broadband network for first responders. Very logical, right? Republicans said, no, we don't want to spend money. Okay. Now, in the beginning, they said, oh, yeah, sure, why not? Of course, and they even put some money aside for it. Now they're like, first responders. Like, are we surprised at this point?
They're the most unpatriotic people on the planet, okay? They didn't want to provide health care for the first responders. They don't even want to help improve their communication. So if something like this, God forbid, ever happens again, at least we can save more lives and prevent more deaths. But no. They're okay with giving tax breaks, right, to corporations, but they're not okay with spending a little bit of money on improving communication for first responders.
Part of the problem is ideological in the sense that, first of all, they don't want any money that doesn't go to the rich. That's their number 1 ideological problem. But number 2 is they don't want the government to work. They just don't want it to work under any circumstance. That's why we had the mess at Hurricane Katrina, because Bush didn't fix any of this stuff. I mean, we could have had much better first response for Hurricane Katrina if some of these things were in place. It's not just for terrorist attacks, right? And we didn't because they just don't want the government to work. They hate the government, right? So the worse the government does, the more they can say, see, the government doesn't work.
That's a really great point.
Okay, and then, but here's the part that is Obama's fault, okay? They recommended, the commission did, a Civil Liberties and Privacy Board, right? And Bush actually put one in place. Now, Kean, who was a Republican head of the commission, said Bush's board was, he said, quote, they weren't frankly the best. Okay, so they didn't do much, and they didn't get much done, and it wasn't very great. But Obama, since he's been in office, it's been dormant for 3 years. He only appointed 2. The Republicans haven't even, confirmed those 2. But the other 3, for 3 years, he hasn't even bothered to appoint. He's like, I'll get to it later. Okay. In fact, Kean also says, I don't know why, when asked why they haven't filled the positions. The answer is always, it's on the way. Right? But it's but your term's almost done. What do you mean it's on the way? Right? And Lee Hamilton, the Democratic chief of the commission, said the security people win every argument. The capabilities they have in terms of intrusions into privacy and civil liberties are awesome. Now, these are the guys who wrote the report on how to keep us safer. But one of the things that they said we got to do is, while we're doing that, we also have to make sure that our civil liberties are protected, because the intrusions into those are unbelievable. And did you know that you can get the 4G mobile hotspot for only $19.99 a month? And you can create your own personal hotspot. Okay, you can connect 5 different devices to it, like boom, iPad, boom, iPod Touch, boom, cameras, laptops, portable gaming. All connected, no overages, free. Come on, go.
Also, you forgot to mention the best part. It's a 4G hotspot.
Oh, forget about it. You gotta get it now.
T-Mobile, get more.